We thought that was the end of that. Wrong. Hello Susamin, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you guys are all having an awesome day so far. So for today guys, we are going to talk about a really sexy subject. Get ready. We are talking all about recycling and garbage and how things are done in Germany. You might think it's really easy. It's not. It's very complicated and confusing. So I wanted to shed some light on this subject, and also I had some drama recently with my neighbors with the whole recycling system here. I brought this up during my last video in my IKEA haul. If you haven't seen that, I'll leave the link down below for you to check it out. But I told you that there was some drama, so I definitely wanted to talk about it because some of you were asking what the drama was all about. And if you're new to Germany, I definitely don't want you to get harassed by your neighbors or by your Hausmeister if you don't know how the recycling works. So I'm just looking out for you guys. Let's get started and talk about this drama that happened. So as you guys know, Josh and I moved into a new flat about 2.5 months ago. We started off with pretty much nothing, you know, just our clothes. We had no furniture. So we've been ordering a lot of stuff to the house, like a bed, a couch, you know, accessories, things like that. So we've been getting a lot of boxes delivered to us. And you know, we are very considerate people. We try to recycle, we try to cut up boxes, you know, we try to maintain the peace in the neighborhood and with our neighbors. But somehow along the way we messed up, and one day we were walking down the stairs to walk outside and we saw this note. And I'm just blocking the name here, address obviously, but it was addressed to us, and essentially what it was saying is that we didn't recycle this box properly, and also outside of the building there has been a nasty old mattress that has been sitting there, and now it has graffiti all over it. And in this note they told us to get rid of our old mattress properly. Now, I am fine with, you know, being told that perhaps I didn't recycle a box properly. Here's the picture of the box. But I didn't like that they made the conclusion that we also just dumped this old mattress outside. I was very hurt by this, and also embarrassed because now everyone who walked outside the door before we actually grabbed this note saw this, and now they think we're super inconsiderate and we're leaving old mattresses outside. So I didn't think that was very cool. So of course, once we saw the notice, we actually went to cut up the box and dispose of it properly. But while we were there, everything was a total mess. The bins were overflowing. There was things outside of the bin. So clearly, you know, the garbage needs to be picked up more frequently than it does, because our people in this building have a lot of recycled goods, a lot of garbage, and there is nowhere to put our stuff. So everything was a total mess. But you know, we disposed as best as we could. We cut up our box properly, and we thought that was the end of that. Wrong. The next day or 2 days after, there was a whole notice outside, not just addressed to us, thankfully, but there is the English version down below and the German version. And essentially it is from a neighbor who is really pissed off at everyone for not maintaining the garbage area clean. And just to give you a mood here and tell you a bit more on, you know, how this person was feeling, I'll read you a little snippet of this. So here we go. Number 1.
If the trash can is full, it's full. It makes no sense to throw your garbage to the floor. It's a dick move for you to just leave your stuff for others to throw out.
Exclamation point. So clearly this person is very upset, and rightfully so. Like I said, this place was disgusting when we went. But yeah, Germans take their recycling very seriously. And they are generally very clean people, so I can see how this can be really upsetting. And I totally agree that if we all have to live in the same building, everyone needs to get their shit together literally and figure it out and figure out how to best dispose of everything. Now, I want to talk about the recycling a bit more just because when I first moved here, I was completely overwhelmed by it as well. There are so many bins. Typically, every building will have about 6 bins, and this is very, very new to me in comparison to Canada, where we have 3 bins. So we have the BO bin, so for, you know, food scraps. Then we have the general waste bin, and then we have a recycling bin. So to come from 3 bins all the way to 6, and there's so many different colors, so many different labels, it is very, very confusing. So I wanted to break it down for you guys in case you are curious on how this works. Now, I know that this is very different for different areas in Germany. Now, I've only lived in Berlin, so I can only speak about that, but I know that the colors of the bins and some of the rules may differ, so do keep that in mind. If you guys are from any other areas, any Germans watching, let us know down below how it differs from what I mentioned, because that can be really helpful to everyone else living in different areas. So like I said, every building will typically have 5 to 6 bins. So one of the first ones I think is quite self-explanatory. It's the Biomüll or organic waste bin. So this is where you can put your food scraps, eggshells, anything like that, leftovers. You want to make sure that you do have a separate bin at home and you start sorting out your garbage that way. And for that bin, it typically has a brown lid on top. So yeah, easy one first. So the second bin is the BSR, and this is like a catch-all for everything that doesn't fit into this category if it is considered a household waste. So this one will clearly say BSR on it or Restmüll. And essentially what you can put in there is things like toilet paper, vacuum cleaner bags, also, you know, cat litter, things like that. That would go into that category. So that one's pretty easy as well. I usually have that garbage next to my bio bin because they just seem to go hand in hand. So that one's quite easy to sort out. So the third bin is where it gets a little more complicated. Now, as a general rule, that bin will be blue, and this is where you can put things like newspapers, egg cartons, so paper materials. The only thing to keep in mind is you do not want to put Tetra Paks in there. I thought that for the longest time that would go in there. It does not. The reason why I thought it did is because, you know, it looks like it's paper, but it's actually a hybrid of paper and plastic. So you definitely do not want to put that into the blue bin if you want to avoid getting a letter like that from an angry neighbor or the Hausmeister. Where you actually want to put the Tetra Paks is in the 4th bin, and that one is typically yellow or orange, or it will have a yellow or orange lid on top of it. So you can put your Tetra Paks in there, metal cans, yogurt containers, and a way to tell whether or not it goes into that bin is if you look for the little recycling symbol. That is usually an indicator that that will go in there. So just a quick little tip there, just in case you're confused on where to put that. And then finally, there is glass. Now, in my building, we no longer have a glass section. I don't know why, but they took it away. The guy also made a point to bring that up. I'll read what he wrote here. He used his favorite word in this one too. So he said,
the container for recycled glass is gone since a few months now. Get your shit together and take a walk to the public disposal places. If you just leave it in the garbage area, it's categorized as a dick move as well. See reference number 1.
That one actually made me laugh. You can tell this guy has a sense of humor, but yeah. So my building no longer has this, which is a bit of a pain because you have to take your glass to a separate area. So usually around the city there will be a collection of bins where you can go ahead and put your glass or maybe other products that don't fit into this category. Now, typically most buildings do have this. All of the other buildings that I've stayed in had a bin for this, so that was really convenient. But I do want to point out that this specific glass bin is for those items or glasses, I should say, that you cannot get a deposit on. So in Germany, they have something called Pfand, and this is where you can actually get a deposit on your glass and plastic goods, typically beer bottles and water bottles. You can actually take it over to a grocery store. They'll have a machine where you just insert it and you will get a deposit back that will typically range between, I think, 10 cents to 25 cents. So that's pretty awesome because it encourages everyone to recycle those items. Now, everything that doesn't have a deposit on it would go into the glass bin. So things like jam containers or wine bottles, which unfortunately do not have a deposit on them, you can put them there. Now, sometimes they even have different bins to categorize between the different colors. So there could be up to 3 different bins for glass. So sometimes there's a grün glass, so green, weiß glass, and then brown glass, and then you'll have to sort it out as you go. But sometimes they just have one for all of the colors, which makes it a lot easier. So you might get lucky there, but yeah, keep that in mind that some bottles have Pfand on it and some don't, and in that case you can just put it into that container. So hopefully that clarifies things up a little bit more. For other things like old clothing or a mattress, for instance, unlike that rude person who left the mattress outside and we got blamed for it, you can of course donate them to local shelters, or there's donation boxes across the city. So definitely be mindful of that. If you're in Berlin, it is quite common actually to leave a box outside of your building with, let's say, old books or clothing or shoes if you just want your neighbors to pick and choose. So that's really nice. But of course, if you have other items that could go to someone who actually needs it, then I would encourage you to go to donation boxes or refugee centers to donate those items. Also, if you're looking to get rid of things like batteries, old electronics, at DM, and I believe in Rossmann, they actually have a section where you can go ahead and recycle batteries. And you can also go to Saturn, which is like the German equivalent of Best Buy, which is an electronics store, and you can of course donate your old electronics or batteries there. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. I want to thank my neighbor, I still don't know who it is, for making this a bit more entertaining, because I know talking about garbage and recycling is very, very boring. But I do hope that you found this helpful. And again, if you want to tell me maybe any stories of experiences with Germans and their recycling, let me know down below. I would love to hear your stories. And also, of course, if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe. I post new videos every single week. And as always, I will catch you all in my next video. Tschüss!